As promised, I'm going to do the washing of the biodiesel, which is taking water and apparently misting into it. I don't know how long this is going to take. I've seen the process can take 3 or 4 times and usually takes about 24 hours. This is where the 24 hours comes in, not the settling of the glycerin. I also am keeping, as I said, I'm going to be keeping the waste, not the solid glycerin, but the loose liquid glycerin, and I'll be trying that. Once I get that full, I'm actually going to try another. That's going to be part 3 of this series, is going to be taking that leftover with the glycerin and the soap in it and seeing what oil I get left, and I'll be doing that again. So this process is pretty simple. I've got a spray bottle here. It's got warm water inside. I've read and seen on YouTube that warm water is the way to go. It helps it go faster. So basically what we do is we mist this in, and the water should start, or the biodiesel should start changing colors as it gets water in there. And basically what this is doing, any leftover soap and glycerin that is in there is going to start precipitating out. I'm going to change hands here because my hand is already getting tired. I don't know why you can't just pour water in and shake it, but maybe there's a reason to it. And you can see that little bit of white on top. That's some of the soap that comes out. You get a little bit on top, and I think that will precipitate out after a while. You can already see the level at the bottom. Now this has got to go for 24 hours. And I can already see it coming through. And this washes it, and in theory, from what I've seen in videos, the stuff should be lighter when it's done too, a lighter color, the biodiesel. So I'm going to stop there. I mean, that's not the full amount. I mean, what I've seen is people putting in almost 20%, 30%. I'm going to add a little bit more while I'm talking, and let it go overnight. You shouldn't lose much at all of the biodiesel because, a little bit in there is the glycerin and the soap. Just like in making this, if you saw the video 1, I said I started with 400 milliliters, and I said I ended with 400 milliliters, actually 395, maybe 395 and a half milliliters. And you can see here where the water is, the soapy level, and then the biodiesel, which is should be clear when all this is said and done. It should be back to like a color, maybe a slight amber color that you can see through. And I will pick this up tomorrow morning and see what it's like. It is, I believe, 6 o'clock at night, and I'll probably come out here 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning and get another video of this. But I'm going to leave this for now and see what it looks like in the morning. It hasn't even been an hour, but I had to walk out to my garage to go to the refrigerator to get a drink, and I decided to take a quick look, and I'm like, well, I can see that white band, which I believe is the soap, pretty clearly. So you've got the yellow biodiesel, the white soap, and then that, tannish color down there, that is the dirty water. So what I have read, and I've read even since the last video, it's been about 45 minutes, that should start coming out pretty clear at the bottom. Now, it's still got time to go because you can't see through the oil. And like I said, it's only been about 45 minutes, and it takes about 24 hours. I also put that bag on top just to keep dust and stuff out of it, to keep it clean. So look forward to the morning to see what's happening next. I'm really excited about this. Morning, everyone. It is now 6:30-ish a.m. It's been roughly 12 hours since I've done the water wash, and you can see there's a big amount there. That's probably the amount of water I put through. I'm not 100% sure. Once I get done, I'll measure it again. So 395 liters is what I had left after the process. So when I get all done, I'll measure that again. But I've got to figure out a way to get the oil out of here, separate it from the soap in another 12 hours. It's got to go 24 hours. So I got to give that another 12 hours to go, figure out a way to separate it and wash it again, because you can see how opaque that is. That's pretty dirty. There's a lot of soap that came out of that. And of course, the reason you want to wash the biodiesel is so that it doesn't gum up your engine. You don't want the fuel injectors or, whatever else might get gummed up by the soaps, because soap is very sticky. You don't want that to gum up the engine so that you have engine trouble. So that's why you wash the biodiesel. So in 12 hours, I will come back again and I will give another update and show what I'm doing next. It has now been 22 hours rather, since I have started this, and you'll see that the white area, the water is pretty well, I'd say that's about half an inch, maybe a little bit more. And then that really white area, that is excess soap. And then you'll see that the oil is still a little opaque. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transfer it to here, get that soapy part out of there, and then I will also spray it down again. But I'm going to do this off camera because I only have two hands and I have to hold my phone while I'm doing this. I did try my best not to stir it up, but I did stir up a little bit. So I've got almost 350 milliliters in the measuring cup, and I've got to let that resettle out. I'm going to let that settle out, and I'm going to get this into a bottle and just sit there until I can get this settled out. I need a separator. So that's a vessel that has a valve at the bottom that I can let the soap out of and the water out of without messing with the oil, because apparently I'm just going to keep stirring it up. So I have one coming, but it's not going to be here for a few days because, you know, Amazon can't keep up with their the dates that they say something's going to be here. So this will take a little bit longer for part 2 to come out, but you know, if you're hearing this, you've already seen it or you're watching it now, so you know, you don't have to wait. I have to wait. Good morning, y'all. It is approximately 6 a.m. This is 2 days after I've started the process, and you can see here when I was trying to separate, you see this big white part on the top. Apparently I created an emulsion of oil and soap, and there are different ways of getting that out. You can add an acid like vinegar, you can do a hot water spray, so 130 some odd degrees Fahrenheit or 50 to 60 degrees Celsius. And yes, I had to look that up because I didn't know the difference, or I didn't know what the Celsius was rather. And that should break the emulsion. So this part down here is still the water, but this part here, the lighter part, is an emulsion of oil and soap. And because when I was getting this out, I had gotten about 350 milliliters instead of my close to 400 milliliters, I lost a lot of the oil in there in the process trying to remove it because I did not have a way of getting it out properly. I do have that, an actual inverted cone with a valve at the bottom so that I can do that. But that is a small scale thing. I've got to figure out a way to do it on a big scale. So that is the next thing I'll be doing. And I'm going to be adding some hot, one of the things you can do is add the acid. I think I just said that, like vinegar. But I am going to try the hot water spray first. So I'm going to take this water and heat it up to 130 degrees, and I'm going to try the spray on that, and then you have to wait 24 hours again. Because this is a test batch, I want to make sure I'm doing everything I can. I'm trying to learn every process. Normally, if it was such a small amount, I wouldn't even bother with it, but I do want to figure out how to do this for when I make bigger batches. Emulsified cooking oil, check. Water heated to 135 degrees Fahrenheit, check. Morning coffee, check. Let's get this going. And I tell you, that is hot. I can feel it on my hand, and maybe this will work. So I can see some pooling on top. It might not be easy to see with the camera, but there's some pooling on top, which should break it down. Look, you can see like an even lighter white line here. So maybe that is helping to break it down. So I'm going to work on this off camera, and I'll get another shot of it in a second. All right, from what I've read, now it is time to just sit back and wait. It could take up to 24 hours. Now, again, this is not something that I would normally do on a regular basis, but because I want to learn all the processes, and I want to make sure I'm doing things right. I am taking the extra time to do this. You can see now there are areas where the oil is starting to separate from the soap. So that is an encouraging thing, and we'll see what this looks like tomorrow. All right, so I'm still working on this, but you'll see I've got some new equipment here. I have a conical flask, or whatever they call it. Conical separator is what it's called. You can see that the soap still isn't separating despite using a lot of warm water. So I am going to continue to experiment with that. I'm going to try the vinegar spray next. Before I do that, I'm going to actually read up on it again, make sure I'm doing it the right way. So that is going to be the next step on that. But on this, I still got to mist it. And since I had so much trouble getting the water out before, I am going to use the conical separator. And this should help me to be able to get the water. Because I'm doing this one-handed, I want to make sure I have a funnel. And I'm glad I did, because I would have spilled that everywhere. So this is the unwashed biodiesel. Well, it's been washed once, so it has gotten a water spray in it once, and I should be able to do much more than that. 3, 4, and I've even seen some videos and read some things where it could take 6 times if it's really dirty. You know, got a lot of soap in it. I don't think it's going to take that much for me, but I'm going to give it a shot here, and I will be spraying that in a minute. I will be saving things like, you know, the containers that I have, because you can take all of this and pour it back into your oil source, you know, drip everything back in there so you're not wasting it. And I will get back to that, I promise, but I want to get this video up. So there will be a part 3 of this video. So let me get ready to spray. I got my water warmed up. I've got the spray bottle full, and it is time to spray. This is a lot harder to do one-handed than you might think. I'm not sure the conical thing is actually made to do this, but you know, should be spraying like a wider area. So I'm going to do this off camera and I'll be back, but you can already see here where the water is coming through, and it's looking pretty clear. So maybe that means that it's cleaner than I thought it was. Okay, I got to get a better spray bottle. This thing is killing my hand. This is actually the spray bottle we use to scare our cats off the counter. But you can see there's a lot of water coming through. That water looks pretty darn clear. So I'm going to let this go overnight, 24 hours to see how it goes, since it's still in the testing phase. So that's going to go back here, and I've got my bunghole cover right there, which is going in there. And I will have to get a spray bottle for vinegar because I can't put it in there. We use that for the cats. And once I do that, then I'll add that. So there will be a part 3, which will be after this, but I want to get this video up on what I've been doing so far, and just keep watching. Hopefully this is something that's really going to work out well for us, because with the cost of fuel and, you know, having a nonprofit, it's kind of hard to pay for things that, you know, that when you have to come up with things like a business, you know, you have to be able to pay for all that fuel when you're not making money. You know, everything we do is by donations. So hopefully this will be a way to cut costs as well. I know. I said that was the end of part 2 and I was going to go to part 3, but I still haven't had time to actually do the editing. So I want to show you the next part. So I'm going to do a 327 test. This is where you take the biodiesel and you mix it 3 milliliters of biodiesel to 27 milliliters of methanol, and you put it in here, and basically the methanol, whatever biodiesel goes down to the bottom, or to the bottom of it, that shows you how clean or how free of soap and glycerin it is. The whole idea is you want to do that, shake it up, wait a few minutes, and there should be nothing, like no bubble of biodiesel at the bottom. Hopefully once I get this ready to go, then you'll be able to see that. But I've got to get the oil and the methanol down to between 68 and 72 degrees Fahrenheit, and you can see we're at 84. We're in Florida, it's 106 today, 110 with the heat index rather, and it is very hot outside. That's where I've been doing this stuff, but for this test I have to bring that temperature down. So here it will sit for at least an hour while it goes down. So it's slowly going down. Why don't I put it in the fridge? That's a chemical. I don't want that near my food. That would be safe, but I don't want it gumming up either, and I don't want to go below that temperature. So finally cool enough. It's taken like an hour and a half. There's the biodiesel. This is what the biodiesel is going to go into, and then of course the methanol as well. And of course for safety, I have got gloves, which I'm going to put on before I start any of this, and then I'm going to attempt to do this one-handed with the camera. I now have gloves on both of my hands. I'm going to attempt to do this one-handed. Why do I have gloves on both my hands then? Because the methanol is dangerous, so I want to make sure that I do not get any on me if I leak some. So let's, the first thing that goes in is the biodiesel. So there's 3 milliliters of biodiesel, which you can see here. I put in this syringe here. I marked it there. You probably may or may not be able to see that on there, but I've got the bubble right at the 3 milliliter mark, and that is going to go right in. And the nice thing is if you have that bubble in there, you pretty much get all of it out. Maybe a drop or half a drop stays in there. So that's for that. And you'll see I have this marked biodiesel as well. So that way I always use that one on biodiesel. Now the next part is going to be a little trickier because this is bigger. We're going to get that off. And I can see that there is a little methanol dripping. You see? That is why you wear gloves in this. So I'm going to check my level again. And I am right there. I don't know if I'm holding that exactly level, but I am right there. So now the hard part will be to get this in here. Wow, I splashed a little bit. So this is the 3/27 method. And now I close this and I upend it a few times, and I'm going to let that sit for 5 minutes, and I'll be back. It's only been a couple minutes so far, but I did clean up the counter and move it back. So before the time comes, I want to show you. So what you do is you take this and you tip it this way, and if you see any pooling at the bottom of biodiesel, then what that means is that your batch is not clean. Now it's only been about 2 minutes. You got to give it at least 5 minutes for that to go. But so far, I don't really see anything pooling there. I'll have to look a little bit closer when I'm not holding the camera in my face. But this so far is looking good. Now, the temperature range you want to have it is between 68 and 72 degrees. If it is too high, you can get a false positive, meaning that it is clean, or too low, you can get a false negative because the methanol will react differently with the biodiesel. So let's give it a couple more minutes and see what happens. It's actually been 6 minutes and I see no pooling whatsoever. So assuming I did this right and I got the temperature right, I didn't go too high where it would just dissolve into the methanol, I should have a positive test here. So this biodiesel, my first 400 milliliters, which granted, I lost 5 on the process and another approximately 50 milliliters on getting the emulsion with the by stirring it up too hard, just giving it too much of a stir. So right now, it looks like I have down what I need to do to be able to make this. So the next test I'll have to do is a larger scale. I still want to go back. The biodiesel that I had that had the heavy layer of soap on it underneath, on top of the water, which you saw in the earlier part of this video, that is still something I want to see what I can do to separate that soap out from the biodiesel. And hopefully that's something I can learn to do. I don't know if I can do it or not. The water method didn't work, the vinegar method didn't work. So I don't know what is next, but really, if I lose that, it's not such a big deal. I'm just testing because if I make a bigger batch and I lose it, then that could be kind of painful. But this is looking good. So that's my first 327 test on biodiesel, and I'm happy with the results. Thanks for watching, guys. This is going to be going, this diesel here, which granted is not a lot, is going to be going to our mobile food pantry. And all the diesel I make in the future will be going towards our mobile food pantry to help cut the cost of that. So thanks for watching, guys. I will catch you soon.